The horror genre is one that so often lends itself to mesmerizing visuals, twisted sequences, and all kinds of bizarre, brutal moments that live long in the memory. And amongst all of that, the genre has brought with it some utterly legendary transformations. We've already looked at 10 of those, and now we're back with some more. As I heads up though, before we get going, the long-delayed Dark Harvest, which released earlier this October, is at the #1 spot, so don't say you haven't been warned of spoilers. With that in mind, I'm Andrew from What Culture Horror, and here are 10 more horror movie transformations nobody saw coming. Number 10. Michael McCleary, The Beast Within. Granted, The Beast Within is a bit of a daft movie in and of itself, but this 1982 offering deserves immense credit for its practical effects work and for crafting one of the most intense transformation sequences ever seen. As The Beast Within opens, Eli and Caroline McCleary find themselves stranded in the middle of nowhere, and when Eli seeks help from a nearby gas station, his wife is sexually assaulted by a creature which impregnates her. Skipping ahead 17 years, the film then introduces us to Michael, the child who was conceived as a result of this horrendous incident. With Michael now having his own monstrous moments though, he's becoming possessed by the spirit of Billy Connors, who was the creature who attacked his mother. While we get glimpses of Michael's possession, it's during The Beast Within's second half that we witness a fantastic transformation scene. As the hospitalized Michael's head expands, it changes shape, and his appearance becomes something almost otherworldly. Number 9. Madison Mitchell, Malignant. In terms of modern day reveals and, in this case, transformations, few are as shocking and out of left field as that revelation in James Wan's Malignant. Here, Madison Mitchell finds herself in the middle of a disturbing mystery as she has visions of various people being killed, visions that chillingly come true. Before long, it becomes apparent that the shady figure known only as Gabriel is behind these murders, and the hunt is on to track down this brutal beast who seems to have a unique connection to Madison. Of course, that unique connection would eventually show how Gabriel is Madison's parasitic brother who was largely removed from his sister, though part of him remains in the back of her skull. That reveal comes when the locked up Madison is attacked by some prisoners, with Gabriel literally bursting out of the back of Madison's head and launching a brutal bloody assault on those sharing a cell with her. With that, Malignant summed up an all-timer of a reveal and a true all-timer of a transformation. Number 8. Evil Ed, Fright Night 1985. Tom Holland's Fright Night, no, not that Tom Holland, is an utter gem of the 1980s, managing to mix a sense of fun with a sense of genuine dread as young Charlie Brewster believes his new neighbour Jerry is a vampire. Of course, Charlie is actually 100% correct, but he has a tough job convincing anyone of this theory, including supposed vampire hunter Peter Vincent. As part of this adventure, Brewster's best pal Evil Ed falls under the powers of Jerry, being turned into a vampire and set upon Vincent. When Peter is attacked by a snarling wolf in Charlie's home, a scuffle between the two results in the animal being stabbed by a table leg and thrown to its death. And it's here where a shocking transformation takes place as it's revealed that the wolf was Evil Ed. This was a shocker for how the usual transformation process was somewhat reversed, as we see Ed go through various forms as he reverts to his human guise. Fright Night famously features one or two more impressively notable transformations, mainly Charlie's girlfriend Amy and Jerry's full vampiric form, but Evil Ed's is certainly the most shocking change here. Number 7. Suzanne, Night of the Demons. Released in 1988, Night of the Demons centers on a group of young adults who decide to throw a party in a funeral home. Yeah, and if that wasn't dumb enough, then the group also opt to carry out a seance as part of their fun. Of course, things take a turn for the sinister when this seance awakens a demonic entity, which causes our crew to become possessed. Out of these possessions, in particular, it's Suzanne, played by genre fave Linnea Quigley, who undergoes the most shocking transformation. For Suzanne, we're first greeted with the utter insane visual of her pushing a lipstick through one of her nipples. Yes, nipples. It's a truly crazy sight and one that cannot be done justice with words or can likely be shown on this video, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. From there, Quigley's character winds up seducing Lance Fenton's Jay, and as the two have sex, Suzanne fully reveals her full demonic figure before pushing her thumbs through Jay's eyes. Night of Demons is quite the experience. Number 6. David Blanchard, Society. Brian Usner has a fun place in horror history, having been involved with franchises such as Reanimator, Return of the Living Dead, The Dentist, and Silent Night, Deadly Night, in addition to having put together the initial story for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. In 1992, 3 years after it was completed, Usner's Society was released, and likely stands as the filmmaker's finest work. Laced with social commentary and satire, it's Billy Warlock's Bill at the core of Society as he begins to suspect his parents are part of some sort of twisted cult. Early on in society, David Blanchard, the ex-boyfriend of Bill's sister, supposedly dies in a car crash. Skip forward to the film's final act though, and it's revealed that Blanchard is very much alive, even if he wishes he wasn't. That finale reveals that Bill's concerns were indeed warranted, although, rather than a cult, his parents and their wealthy pals are actually aliens who prey on the poor and literally drain their life force by a bonkers process called shunting. Our first demonstration of shunting? Why, that's poor David Blanchard, as a demented sequence of melding body parts, squelching flesh, and all kinds of bodily fluids play out in one of the most unique transformation sequences in horror movie history. Number 5. Max Reed, the Guyver. Stereotyped on the back of the original Star Wars trilogy, Mark Hamill largely found himself working on low-budget features throughout the rest of the 80s and into the turn of the 90s, before obviously wowing as the Joker in Batman the Animated Series. As part of that period, 1991 saw Hamill appear in The Guyver, a mishmash of science fiction and superheroes with a large dollop of horror involved. Loosely adapted from Yoshiki Takaya's manga, The Guyver revolves around Sean Barker, who discovers a piece of alien kit that turns him into the titular hero. With the government out to weaponize this otherworldly technology to create a slew of monstrous beasts, it's down to Sean and his pals to fight the good fight. And amongst all of this, Mark Hamill plays Max Reed, a CIA agent assisting Barker in his quest. Things don't end all that well for Rito. For the final act, he's transformed into a bizarre, cockroach-like creature in one of the most extremely cheesy, but most extremely shocking transformation sequences imaginable, all with just a smidge of overacting from the legendary Hamill. Number 4. Yumi, ABCs of Death 2. The whole concept of the ABCs of Death centers around 26 short movies, where each short is based around a different letter of the alphabet. For 2016's ABCs of Death 2, T is for torture porn, stars genre fave Tristan Risk in a short film from her longtime collaborators and pals, Jen and Sylvia Soska. Here, Risk plays Yumi, a shy, timid actress on a set with a group of misogynistic, abusive filmmakers. For Yumi, she's at the mercy of these bullies as they make her gag with their fingers, make some disgusting remarks, and make her strip, all as our central character appears too meek to stand up for herself. Of course, Yumi does dish out some fantastic punishment to these jerks, with the reveal that between her legs lie some tentacles. With her eyes shining bright and a red colour palette taking centre stage, Yumi proceeds to unleash her tentacles on these utter pricks who treated her like utter trash. And it all looks absolutely fantastic. Bravo, Dial. Number 3. Jason Voorhees, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Going into Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, horror hounds were obviously expecting to see, Jason Voorhees up to Jason Voorhees things. After all, this was a Friday the 13th movie, and so one would rightly be anticipating seeing Crystal Lake's hockey mascadon killer cracking skulls and piling up bodies. Instead, Jason underwent somewhat of a transformation during this 9th film's opening scene, a transformation absolutely none of us saw coming. That would see Jason blown to a million pieces, and instead, The Final Friday focused on Voorhees' spirit being passed from person to person by a turd-like parasite. Yeah. Even the theatrical trailers were completely oblivious to the fact that this wasn't your usual Friday the 13th movie. Horror has many faces, death wears many masks, but pure evil wears only one, and this is your final chance to see it. That was legit the voiceover track from Jason Goes to Hell's trailers, which accompanied imagery of Jason's fade mask and him doing his usual business in his usual physical form. Instead, Jason transformed into a bunch of random people, and it absolutely sucked. Number 2. Cat Higgins, another WOLFCOP. Part comedy, part superhero movie, and part horror film, Laudin's fantastic Another WOLFCOP takes all that worked about its 2014 predecessor and turns it up to 11. The chuckles of that first movie, amped up. The heroics of that first movie, the twisted imagery and ooey-gooey gore of that first movie, amped up. And the utterly bizarre interspecies sex scene of that first movie, yep, that was also outdone here in a way that nobody would have expected. For those unfamiliar with these two films, the loose premise focuses on Lou Garou, an alcoholic small-time cop who turns into an ass-kicking werewolf of justice due to a curse. In the most shocking scene of the original WOLFCOP, the locked-up Garou, in his werewolf form, has sex with the stunning Jessica, who post-coitus reveals herself to be a shapeshifter who is actually the elderly mayor of the town. Still with us? Fantastic. Where 2017's Another WOLFCOP is even more shocking is when Sarah Miller's Cat Higgins, the sister of Garou's best pal Willie, ends up showing some affection towards Lou. This all culminates in a sex scene where Cat shockingly transforms into her own weird cat creature as her and Lou bump uglies. But seriously, go and watch these two WOLFCOP films, they're amazing. Number 1. Richie Shepard, Dark Harvest. Adapted from Norman Partridge's 2006 novel of the same name, Dark Harvest finally released this October after various delays. Thankfully, the film was very much worth the wait and is brimming with some great gore, some shock twists, and some magnificent performances from its largely young cast. As for the tale on display here, Dark Harvest revolves around the legend of Sawtooth Jack, a figure who makes its presence known in a small Midwestern town once a year for what's known as The Run. That annual event sees the teenage boys of the area locked up and starved for 3 days before being released to try and kill the murderous Sawtooth, with the person who defeats Sawtooth Jack earning themselves an escape from this small-minded town and also winning a nice payday for the family. For troubled Richie Shepherd, he's desperate to prove himself and take down Sawtooth due to the small fact that his brother Jim previously achieved this feat, and Richie has been left in his sibling's shadow as a result. Towards the film's close, it's revealed that the previous winner of the run is sacrificed and becomes the new Sawtooth Jack as part of a ritual to maintain strong crops for the community. As in, Richie discovers that his brother Jim is actually now Sawtooth Jack. Once Richie puts his older brother out of his misery, it looks like Richie and his new beau Kelly are going to drive off into the sunset, aware of the town secret and able to foil it. That is until a last minute twist where Richie is hit on the head with a shovel by the caretaker of the cornfield, who buries him, and we witness a twisted sequence of poor Richie becoming the new Sawtooth Jack. So that's our 10 more horror movie transformations nobody saw coming. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, turn those notification bells on, and come and give us a follow on X at WhatCultureHorror. While you're there, you can find myself at Cultured Left Peg, but most importantly, be sure to have the best possible day. And whether you're doing something or whether you're doing absolutely nothing, I hope it goes really well for you. And if things aren't going so well right now, I really do hope that they turn around as soon as possible. I've been Andrew Powell from What Culture Horror, and I'll catch you down the road.